Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the call, coming on the call. I hope you got an opportunity to go through the email that I shared.
Yes.
Okay, so actually, let me just give you a brief about what we are trying to do.
Hmm.
Uh, we want to set up robo advisory and algorithmic execution service,
Okay.
um, uh, which is different than the general advisory, which is very discretionary in nature.
Hmm.
So we wanted to be sure that we are meeting the eligibility criteria and the regulatory needs before we set out on developing the algorithms for that.
Okay.
For some reason, your voice is very feeble.
Just a second. Is it better?
Yeah, it's better. It's better.
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
So I wanted to know that. So I I know a bit that so the confusion was really, do we need a research analyst as registration or a investment advisory registration? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
One was that. Second is uh, what kind of eligibility is required, because I come from a research background with 20 years experience in research, but not in finance research. I've been a quantitative researcher, and last 5 years I have been coaching people on equity. So I don't know whether that qualifies for the eligibility for the IA. I'm an
MBA in?
MBA in marketing.
Oh no, that's not qualified neither on the IA front nor on the RA front.
No, but it is said in the business. You are a MBA, Master in Business Administration. Uh,
No, they have also mentioned the specializations also, if you see. They have mentioned the specializations that you need to have if you apply. So if we are meeting those specializations, then we can, otherwise we can't.
Okay, in that case, can this be a situation like, where we are founders of the organization, we set up everything and we hire somebody who meets the criteria?
Yes, that can be done.
Okay, and that person would be the principal officer, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
And you will have to make that person as the director of the company.
Oh,
That's the basic criteria for a principal officer to have. The person should be the director of the company and should meet the eligibility criteria, which is qualification and certification for respective applications.
okay. Actually, that's a relatively smaller thing in terms of the certifications. Uh, it's just that the qualification and either you. So, is there any other thing that I can do? Can I do a 1 year program, or can I be some distributor or something like that? A loophole which we can exploit to be a director and start off this.
As of now, we can't because you're not qualifying. If your other partner is qualifying with the criteria, then maybe we can make him the principal officer.
No, no, he's an engineer. Okay, I'm a researcher, but I'm saying, can I get that qualification now?
But how will you get? I mean, that will be a 1 year or 2 year degree, no?
Yeah, I can do that 1 year degree.
So your license will then be delayed a year because we
Okay.
can only apply after you qualify. So if you plan to go for this degree, the qualification now, you will have to enroll yourselves, right,
Hmm.
into some institutes who are providing this qualifications and all, right?
Hmm.
So that will delay our process a month.
Okay. And what qualification is required? Is it master's degree? Only 1 year master's can I do when I am already am MBA?
1 year master will do for RA, however, it will not do for IA.
Okay.
Both licenses come with a different requirement.
Hmm.
So for becoming IA, we need a 2 year PG, while for RA, we need a 1 year degree.
Okay. Okay, understood. We'll figure out a way. We may just hire somebody, and the director, if we hire somebody as a director, that director needs to have substantial stakes in the organization. Is it that?
No, not necessarily.
Okay. Does that director need to be on the board?
Yes, of course, he's a board of director. I
Of
mean, he's a
board of
director.
director, right?
He'll be
Okay.
a part of the board.
Yeah, board. That person needs to be on the board, and
Yes.
um, the stakes can be very low. That's okay.
Even if he's not having stake, that will also do.
Okay. But what if the person we hire as a director, and that person has a qualification, and that person leaves?
You will have to have a new person again then.
Okay.
The requirement still remains the same.
Requirement still remains. Okay. So can it be in this way that when we start off the organization, we have a hired person. By the time I get my qualification done, I get my certification done, and then I become director.
Yeah, that can be done.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So I think that resolves this issue to some extent. Okay. One was this. Uh, in when we are considering robo advisory, so it's not only robo advisory but also execution. So what certification is required, RA or IA?
So now it depends on what kind of services you're giving. See, robo advisory is usually meant for IA business and not RA, because advisory is investment advisor and not RA.
Okay. And RA is supposed to do only a general
Research.
reporting,
Only research.
only research. Okay.
Yeah, there's no advisory.
Okay. Okay. So so IA is required, and I need to clear those two certification exams. That's
Yes,
okay.
10A and 10B.
Okay. And uh, so there are some people who are exempt from being you know uh, registered for SEBI if you are a mutual fund distributor or you are an insurance distributor, something like that, right?
You're only exempt in case you are providing support only in those terms.
Okay,
Like,
not for the equity advisory.
no, not for the equity advisory.
Okay, I understood. So when we start off an IA, advisory, robo advisory business, what kind of subscription model that we can have? So is it only subscription model or a UA, assets under advisory basis, percentage basis? I think it's 2.5%, something like that.
Yes, it's subject to that.
So can I have both for different level of
Yes.
funding?
Yes.
So somebody has say only 50,000 under advisory, I can charge him a subscription, and if that person goes to 2 lakh rupees, I can say I will shift it to UA, assets under advisory basis.
Yes, you can.
And so when this happens, assets under advisory or whatever, so can we also have another service which is portfolio management and the alternative investment fund subsequently?
Yes, you can expand your business as and when required, no?
Okay. And can we be brokers also?
Yes, you can.
So there is no conflict that we are advising as well as the broker?
You cannot serve the services of broker to the same client that you are offering advisory service, as far as the segregation is concerned.
Oh, so the client needs to be different.
Yes.
Okay. So, and what if I am tying up with the broker, and the broker provides some part of commission to us? Is that allowed for the
No.
same clients?
No.
No.
It's getting
Okay.
same income, no?
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
not allowed.
Okay. Understood. So, as an advisor, now I'll tell you the kind of investment, kind of business plan that we are thinking about is, see, currently the advisors are available, which many of them are mm, not organized, so to speak. Okay, so people will send out an email that ye kharido wo kharido, right, or ye
Right.
becho wo becho, right, which is
Right.
general. It is not personalized. So what we are really thinking about is we ask we give a personalized service in terms of the kind of people, kind of assets they want, kind of market cap, kind of sectors they want to invest, and basis that they will get only those specific kind of advices. And their broker, so we get connected to their broker directly, where they don't have to really even put in that order. So one is advisory, one is execution also. Where advisory, it could be a single click order that they get a notification, they click and the trade gets executed. On the contrary, the other services, they don't have to even bother about clicking. The execution would happen automatically on the algorithm. So is this something that is allowed in the current system?
For before execution, auto execution cannot be there. They will have to give approval every time.
Every time.
Every time. There can't be any auto approvals.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, understood. Second is, if I am charging somebody under, assets under advisory, say mutual funds tend to charge it on a daily basis. Is that something allowed for this space?
Sorry.
So, say mutual funds charge AUM every day basis, right?
If you are going for investment advisory, then you can only go for direct plans.
What do you mean by direct plans?
There is no commission generated out of those products.
Okay, but I will have to charge them something, right?
You can charge advisory fee on the mutual funds, but there will be no commission
No, I'm not
flowing
talking
to you.
mutual fund. I'm not talking mutual fund. I'm
Then,
saying, say if I am a mutual fund, I'm a mutual fund person, I am a mutual fund organization,
hmm,
and you are my client. So I charge, your money comes in the fund, right? And every day's assets under management basis that we take out that my expense ratio on a everyday basis. Now, as an advisor, that happens for mutual fund. But if I'm an advisor and I'm charging you as for assets under advisory, so
hmm.
do I take that money out every day basis, or that happens at a periodical level? Say
How
you,
will you take out the money? You are not a PMS.
exactly. So I can't make a fund out of it. It has to be individual account.
Yeah, that's a PMS. That you can't do.
Right.
Whatever it is, it will be parked in the client's individual account only, and you can't have access to those accounts.
So how would we be able to charge under assets under
It will be on declaration basis, holding statement basis.
okay. So that is the declaration by the client, and we
By
would
the
not
client.
have any visibility of whether that declaration is true or not.
Yeah, I mean, you can get the holding statements and all to get the real situation of the AUM. That you can, of course, ask.
Hmm.
But you cannot work in a way that a PMS works, like taking out the funds somewhere and then disbursing it, or like that. That kind of stuff don't work under IA, because under IA the funds are held in the respective individual's account only, and that is not taken or withdrawn to some sort of fund for investment. It's not. It happens in the individual client account only.
Agree. Agree. So, how do I protect my interest that, say if I am providing service to person A, and that person declares that I am using this service only for my funds of 1 lakh rupees, and that
Hmm.
person will simultaneously take execution in some other account where there is say 1 crore rupees. How do I protect my interest in that?
Technically speaking, you can't, because that's client's interest on where he wants to invest what money and with whom.
Okay.
You can't, because that's client discretion whether he wants you to manage his part of asset or the entire asset.
Okay. Okay. Now, if we want to make a business case out of this, see, we want to make a um, business proposition out of this. What other things that we can do? Say, when we are providing, we are developing an algorithm which identifies opportunities and executes. Can I be a tech company which provides this service without getting into these regulations, and so that our business interests are secured?
Just a second. So being a tech company, how will you advise? You can't advise, no?
Hmm. No, I may not advise in that case. I might just say I have developed a algorithm which works. Okay, I am providing you a subscription to so that you are able to execute at your end. You simply log in the morning and you are taking those trades.
Okay.
So I am providing an algorithmic service. So it would be a tech organization and not an advisory organization or not a research organization. See, my concern is the
Hmm.
with regulation, it's really not business friendly. So so that there's hardly any advisor you will find to be 100 crore revenue because of all these challenges, and particularly advisories. So if I am not able to uh, have a visibility of what is AUA, and I'm not able to execute the there are a lot of things that clients may do which will act against my interest. So people may subscribe for one account and use for 10 accounts. That's what happens.
See that, see the way that you are trying to protect it, you'll not be able to, because that's not practically viable. You
Okay.
cannot control somebody's thought process, right? I mean, if somebody is subscribing for one product, and what if his product surpassing your thing to somebody else, or maybe distributing it within its family members, right?
Hmm.
You can't protect yourselves to that extent. This is what
Hmm.
I have to say. You
Okay.
can protect yourselves, but not to this extent, because you cannot control somebody's thought process.
Agree, agree. Now, what happens in case of PMS, because the person doesn't have a day-to-day, particularly non-discretionary, discretionary PMS, particularly, um, that person doesn't have to bother about execution, and they don't need to know every day basis ki
Then
what.
you can go for a PMS license in such case.
Okay, but PMS license again, we would have some this thing, right? Eligibility criteria
Criterias
and all
to
that.
meet, yes.
So, what would that
And
be?
those are held like right now on a higher side, and we currently are not meeting with that. I mean, you are not meeting with that criteria as of now.
Yeah. So we can plan to meet that, right? Like for quant fund and
Yes.
all that.
Yes, we can. Definitely. Why not?
So if we hire somebody who meets that eligibility criteria in terms
Yes.
of the education and the experience, possibly, right?
Yes.
Previous experience, right? And if in the beginning we can be the part of the organization as one of the employee, over the period
Hmm.
of time we meet that criteria.
That can be done, I think.
Okay. Okay. So and so when we are doing it as a quant fund, or so if we do that and we do that as a quant fund, so do we need to register our algos with broker or SEBI or something like that?
There is a guideline to it, that you need to get it, if you are using algorithmic options, then you need to get it verified by SEBI and all. There are certain rules to it,
But
which we will.
how do I protect my IP in that case?
Sorry.
So when I have an algo
Huh.
which is my intellectual property, so when
Right.
I then I have to disclose it to broker or SEBI.
No, so you'll have to get your approval of your strategies, know how you have built the algo. So with
Hmm,
SEBI, you cannot worry about your IP, because SEBI is not going to use your algorithmic trades, right?
hmm, hmm,
And you don't have to declare it to the broker, because eventually whatever algorithms you are putting up in your system,
hmm,
that is to be approved by the agency,
hmm, 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 hmm.
right? So that way it is. It's not with the broker exactly.
Okay, okay. And so if we the way I understand, to make it out of business, it has to be a portfolio management, and not really advisory is not really fruitful, um, uh, business proposition. So if we have to go through a PMS, start a PMS only, then can we appoint um, And distributors like the mutual fund distributors to distribute the PMS?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so before we launch any such service, we need to have our certifications and the registration, and not before that we can't have a dry, test run. We can't have a POC, nothing like that.
Nothing, nothing.
So in that case, the funding can be a challenge for such an organization, right?
Funding as in the network?
So imagine, so when we are planning to start, say, PMS, and PMS obviously would require a net worth requirement for the organization, as well as the expenses for people and everything, right? So
Right.
for that, we were thinking of raising funds. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, raising funds can be a challenge when before you are not able to raise a POC before you register and start. It can be
That
chicken
could
and
be
egg
a,
kind of a
that
issue,
can
right?
be a challenge. That can be a challenge.
Right. So when we say net worth, how do we define net worth for a PMS?
Net worth of the entity.
Okay, it should be the cash in the account of the organization.
Not necessary.
So how would that be?
It can be anything, liquid anything, fixed or whatever.
Okay,
So it
okay,
can be parked in the investments. It can be into fixed assets. It can be cash, anything.
okay. So when we say it can be parked as in any investment, as in, I didn't understand that.
Investments in the market.
Okay, so it can be that we directors um, take money, put it in the name of the organization, and invest in the market. That can also go as a net worth.
Yeah, but the net worth should be of the company only. So we need to see how we are showcasing that, because the net worth should be of the company only.
Okay, so when, say, imagine, say we are say four founders. Now
Right,
four founders, we each of us contribute certain amount that has
right,
paid up capital for the organization,
right.
and that organization has a investing account which is
Hmm,
invested.
that's okay.
That works.
That works.
Okay,
We
okay,
need to have the net worth of 5 CR. Now, how you manage it, it's up to you.
okay,
It should
understood,
not be the director's net worth, but it should be the company's net worth.
understood. And directors can have a stakes in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be articulated as a company's network, and possibly the contribution of directors and the say contribution in the stakes in the organization, which would be in that
Yes.
proportion.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Now, uh, uh, so when we set up such an organization, uh, how easy or difficult it is for a portfolio management service to raise funds for operations?
See, raising funds shall not be an issue until unless you are not registered. But while you are raising funds, you just have to make sure that your controlling powers are remains vested with you,
Hmm.
and do not to anybody else. If the controlling power goes to anybody else after the investments are raised or the funding is raised, now that's a challenge to you, because that amounts to re-registration
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
if the controlling stake changes. So in case of fundraise, we just have to be sure that our controlling power, our controlling stakes are not changing. That's it.
Okay, so it's a regulatory challenge that will come otherwise.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Rest of the things are good.
okay. So I understood. Just a minute. One more thing. Uh, Feasibility of taking the company public or divesting in future again becomes a challenge because of controlling power, right?
Yes,
And that's the reason not many such organizations are public.
yes. That's the only reason why public limited companies are not becoming part of it, because these changes like vary very often.
Okay, but tell me one thing. Now the court can say Motilal Oswal. These all people have PMS, right?
Right,
Now, if they have PMS, they are registered. But
right.
PMS is only one product of out of their bigger thing, is it? Or that's a different organization?
That's a different organization. They plan it strategically according to it.
Okay. Okay. So, so in your view, now you understood the challenge that we are facing. See, we understand market really well. The only
Mm-hmm.
challenge is the regulatory thing. So we were thinking that we would be providing the services. We will also provide the execution to people so that the executional challenges would be taken care of. And as the AUA grows, we will raise our our own uh, company's income will grow. But I
Hmm.
see that as a considerable challenge. So the only thing way I see is PMS way, which can be substantial. But again, for that we need to have somebody who with same kind of registration, and simultaneously we build our own eligibility for that. Uh,
Yes.
but say when we say quant fund, so there are quant funds available, right? So even when there are quant funds, they also need to even if you are providing a portfolio management through as a quant fund, we still need to provide algorithmic this thing to through SEBI confirmation, right?
Yes. Algos are always to be approved.
Okay. Okay. So what should be the steps that we should be following now, in your view? So we are starting to work on a algo to develop this back test and everything, but simultaneously when we want to set up this, so in your view, what are the steps that we should be taking in a methodical manner to be able to get there?
If we are willing to go one step at a time, then in such case I will say that firstly we need to meet the eligibility criteria. Basis that only will be in a position to apply.
Hmm.
And once we are in a position to apply, then we are sorted. No.
Okay. So now, would you recommend? In fact, we were thinking is we will develop our tech stack first,
Hmm.
backtest check the things are working the way we expect,
Hmm.
and then get into the form incorporation of the organization, and then getting into registration.
Yes, that's the right way to work.
Okay.
Because otherwise, it doesn't make any sense to get into such kind of expenses.
Right, right. And so when we have an algorithm, and we are going to identify and execute the decisions basis the algorithm,
Hmm.
is it necessary to have NSE data directly coming to our algorithms, or it can be through other data sources also?
It can
Is
be any
there
data source.
there is no such regulatory requirement of you need to have a NSE's co-location data, something like that?
I've not seen anything coming as such.
Okay. Okay. So what kind of services that you provide, and how how does the arrangement work? So that we I understand that compliance is a relatively big thing in this space. So what kind of services you provide, and
So once you
how we can
qualify to
collaborate subsequently?
become a PMS, we can help you in getting the registration with
Hmm.
SEBI.
Hmm.
And after that, the uh, the requirements that you have in terms of the regulation or the compliances, we can help you in sorting them out too.
Okay. Do you also guide on the how do we structure the incorporation and the stakes? How do you protect ourselves from people moving and taking the IP away, or dilution? How should we plan dilution and all that?
To an extent, I will say not entirely.
Okay. So, so how should we handle that? Because so when it is a discretionary manual advisory and planning decisions, it's relatively easy to handle that, as compared to, it's say I am building a technical system which its own proprietary.
See, one thing, Prakashji, I will give you a suggestion on
Hmm,
one thing. Sorry, but this is my opinion as of now. See, we are at a building stage right now, and we cannot come with such kind of thoughts as of now to protect everything and all, because ultimately these kind of things are hindrance in our work.
hmm.
Okay, while we are starting the journey, we should be open enough to explore any options as of now rather than preserving on what we are having, frankly speaking. Because this market is very big, and once you start evaluating, there will be certain other challenges also that you feel. So, right now, having a broader mindset would work here rather
Makes
than
sense.
conservating ourselves or limiting ourselves to something.
I understand that.
Because see, everybody is coming up with their own thought process and everything. You just have to limit whatever your thoughts are to a certain extent, maybe like taking approvals on whether it's viable or not, or how to protect your interest and all. But that comes once you start floating something, right? Because right now we are at a building stage, and right now if we think of protecting everything, no, then you'll not be able to expand more.
I understand.
See, that's why I'm saying that it's like until unless we not start it, we'll not be standing at one place. After we start it, we are standing at one place. Then we can think about protecting our data, protecting our things, or protecting our IPs. See, this is the thought process that I am having.
I
Like
agree. I am completely.
I believe in starting first and then explore it. See, there are certain things that we need to plan in advance, that how the infrastructures are to build or how the funding is to be raised, which you asked, like if the fundings are there, then what kind of operational challenges we may face and all. So those things are, yes, a well full constraint before we start, because we need to prioritize these things once, because these may affect our productivity or our way of working. The
Right.
rest of the things, I think we can plan it once we start working on it. So I
Okay.
would suggest you to first have a glance on the eligibility requirement, because PMS is coming up with a way higher eligibility as compared to RA and RA, which is you need a principal officer who is having a post graduation degree with 5 years of experience of this field, particularly working in the investment advisory field of for 2 years. I mean, total 5 years of experience of security market, out of which 2 years should be of investment advisory. We would need a supporting person as well who is meeting the criteria of graduation and having 2 years of experience working in the security market. And we would also need a compliance officer. There are certain other aspects to portfolio manager license, which is having a broker, having a custodian, having a DP, and fund accountant. Like custodian will of course handle the fund accounting. So how the fund accounting will be done, how the assets will be managed. These are the things that we need to plan first before we start on thinking whether are we really good for having a PMS or not. Rather than, I mean, these are the first things that we need to plan first, like how structuring is going to work, and then maybe we can think of other things.
Understand. Okay, so I will try to get a work around that. We'll try to figure out whether
Because
we can do it.
presently the two people that you guys are having, I mean, you both the partners of you are not meeting the criteria. So if we eventually go for a PMS, you will, the first hunt that will start for you will be finding a suitable candidate who you can hire, to whom you can hire as a principal officer. And for PMS, one thing that I would like to state is that in case of PMS, the principal officer may not be the director or shareholder of the company. That person can be an employee also.
Okay.
Okay, so I think the hunt will start for you first for the PO and then other things. This is, I
Okay.
would say. Otherwise, if we want to really start quick as of now, it's better we find a principal officer who is meeting the IAS eligibility criteria and start and kickstart with the investment advisory work. Because this is coming with a narrowed requirement and with lower cost structure as compared to PMS. Because if you get into PMS, the initial cost that you're looking around would be somewhere around 15 lakhs.
15 lakhs for
50 lakhs roughly for registration
PMS.
for PMS. While if you go for a corporate IA, the cost will be roughly around 6.5 lakh.
Okay,
In
and
terms of government
this
fee,
is for
I'm talking
registration,
about.
but even there would be other costs for setting up office and all the things,
Yeah. That's what.
and
That's what.
the net worth thing.
Employee, yeah, net worth. In case of IN, the net worth criteria is absent. So net worth criteria we may not need there. But for PMS, we need a 5 crore net worth also. So that is also operational, or I will say a big hurdle for us to start. Until unless we are not coming up with that kind of structure, or maybe we can manage, or maybe we are about to have a fundraise.
So, so if we want to start something, it has to be either IA, an advisory, which could be algo basis also,
Yes.
and which can be subscription basis,
Yes.
and the
See,
second is
algorithmic trades we have mostly seen in case of RA as compared to IA.
okay. Why?
Because algorithmic trades they fit in and they just send out research to their clients, but they
Okay,
don't usually get involved into algos for advisory, because that's like personalized advisory. We've seen very little, I mean, less cases of IA getting into algo. Robo advisor is there surely,
okay.
but
So you mean to say RA can do a robo advisory better
that will be
than,
like automated research
yeah,
generated out of
automated research,
algo.
but I need to give that research to people saying that this is why we have done this, right?
In case of RA. While you get personally involved in case of IA also in terms of their AUM and what they're holding, when to exit, when to buy, what to buy, how much to buy. You get personal, you give them a personal advisory in their IA.
But can't IA do a personal advisory basis their account sizes, then accordingly position size, which sectors and all that, and that personalization is a lot more easily possible through algorithm, right?
That's possible, but everybody will have their own personal uh, set of
Agree. So
investments.
imagine you are my client, and
Hmm.
you say I come with say certain 5 lakh rupees, and this is
Hmm.
what is my. You create your profile. This is your my interests. These are
Hmm.
sectors that I am really looking for. This is the holding period that I am looking for,
Hmm.
and that goes in your profile. So my algo screens opportunities for that and shares with you.
That's okay. Your algos will be then customized to the client's existing holdings and then accordingly advising them on the fresh holdings.
Right.
That's okay. You can do.
So between the two, RA and IA, which is compliance wise relatively easier to handle to start with.
Both are same to me as of now.
Okay.
IA you can say like little higher as compared to RA, but otherwise both are coming with the same set of compliance. You need to have agreements, KYCs and everything. There are little more documents extra because you are getting personally involved in their investments or in their AUM structure, due to which you need to do risk profiling or suitability assessments and everything, which is absent in case of RA because you're not getting personally involved there in their assets or what they're investing or how much they're investing.
Okay. So RA is, how does the business structure happen for RA if it is only the providing the research?
Yeah, so you simply provide them the research and then they are on their own.
So it's a subscription model that generally people work with.
Yes, RA is only subscription. You cannot have AUM information, neither you can charge on AUM.
But RA can tie up with a broker.
Both can tie up with a broker, but again, execution commission cannot flow in both the divisions, neither on IA nor on RA. You cannot have commissions.
Okay.
Commission income is not allowed.
Okay. Okay, so thank you, Megha, a lot. In fact, it clarified quite a few things for me, and obviously posed new challenges for us. But at least we got a clarity as to the area that we were really looking for.
Hmm.
We will need to have some tweaks and figure out something.
Sure.
So, so what we'll do, Megha, I'll just discuss this with my business partner,
Hmm.
and come back to you as to what we plan to do and how we
Okay.
can possibly go ahead with
Sure.
the kind of
That
service that you're
works.
providing.
That works, Prakash ji.
Yeah, thank you
Okay.
so much, Megha.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Bye bye.